Toyotas are like the ultimate trucks for building, particularly in Colorado, because they're daily driverable. They're like Legos where you can just build them freely. There's so much aftermarket support, and they are truly probably the most reliable vehicle. But what really got me into Toyota specifically was the resale value. And then once you build them, I think they look the best. Hi, my name is Dwight Hauser. I own a shop with a couple of my friends called Mountain Yotas, located in Wheat Ridge, Colorado on I-70 in Wadsworth. And we build functional off-road Toyota 4x4s. Off-road trucks have really been a passion of mine since I was like a little kid, going to car shows, always looking at cool trucks on the street. My dad built hot rods in Southern California in the 70s, and so I kind of have it in my blood. When we moved to Colorado, I got into the off-road scene by riding dirt bikes with my dad, and then, you know, hot rods, dirt bikes combined, being in Colorado kind of makes the perfect convergence of all those things in off-road vehicles, especially Toyotas in Colorado. Mountain Yotas really focuses on building functional trucks meant for off-roading. And compared to a lot of shops around, we are willing to touch things that other people won't touch. Engine swaps, working on early model stuff, and re-gears. And really what sets us apart more than anything though is our attention to detail and really doing things the right way. And the front end of our shop, taking care of the customers, is really our major focus here. We want to make sure we're treating you like family when you walk in the door, no matter how big or small your project is. Yeah, so this is my 2021 Tacoma TRD Pro. I got it in December 2020 and started building it 3 days after I had it. And the very first thing that I did was put tires on it. So right now I'm running 35 by 12.5, 17 tires. They're Falcon Wildpeak AT3Ws. And I chose these and have continued to use these tires, and I recommend them to customers because they're great as a daily driver. They're quiet on the highway, phenomenal in the snow, priced right. The only downside to these Wildpeaks is they don't look as aggressive as either an MT tire, a mud train tire, which are bad in the snow, or some of the other tires like the KO2s, the Toyos. They look more aggressive, but there's a trade-off with every tire. These are my favorite all-around tires by far. So this truck has had probably 4 or 5 sets of wheels on there. Right now I'm running black Rhino Primm beadlocks in a gold color with a silver ring. These are a -38 offset, so it's really wide. It pops out from the wheel wells a lot. There's a lot to consider when you're running a 35-inch tire with that big of a negative offset. We do have to tub. We do have to do a relocate, and there's some other considerations just for wear and tear on your vehicle. You have to consider spindle gussets. You have to consider a steering rack upgrade. There's a lot to get into a tire with this big of a negative offset. But I mean, it looks fantastic. The stance is wide, it's nice and sturdy. These wheels specifically, we love Black Rhino here, and this is kind of the top line off-road wheel that they offer. The one thing about Black Rhino as it relates specifically to Toyota is it just seems to look right. Okay, so the suspension on this truck right now, I decided to keep it a mid-travel build, even though we do a lot of long travel builds here. And right now I'm running the Bilstein 8112s. These are my favorite mid-travel shocks that I've ever run. I hadn't tried them before, and then we had a customer's vehicle who demanded that he gets 8112s. And as soon as I test drove that vehicle after we put them in, I said, I'm switching right now. It feels more like you're in a Cadillac Escalade than a truck. They're soft, they respond how they should. They tighten up as you're turning. They feel great off-road. The travel length is great. And they have internal bump stops as well as check valves inside that just make for a great ride on-road and off-road. Plus it's made by Bilstein. They've been making shocks since the late 1800s. We can't recommend Bilstein enough. Whether you're going with, you know, the low-end stuff to try to save some money, they're gonna last you, and they're reliable shocks that won't fall apart. You go all the way up to these 8112s, 8100s in the back, you definitely can't go wrong as long as you're staying mid-travel. So right now this truck has SPC adjustable upper control arms. We love SPCs here. We sell a lot of SPCs. You can adjust the caster angle on SPCs so that your tire actually sits further forward from your cab than with stock upper control arms. They're actually longer to account for lift. So if you go over 2 inches, you need aftermarket upper control arms to help you with your alignment to be within spec for a proper alignment. Now the caster angle helps you fit bigger tires because it pushes your tire away from the cab. So it'll help with rubbing and clearance. They're fully forged, they're made in the US, and as far as like a mid-range, mid-travel lifted truck upper control arm, they're phenomenal. So another thing I'm doing in the future is upgrading my bump stop situation. Right now I'm running Timbren bump stops, which are phenomenal. But you know, I want to be able to jump this truck if I want to, and so I'm going with locked off-road hydro bumps. It's a huge upgrade, and it comes with a price tag. There's fab work to be done. The hydro bumps themselves are amazing. Riley, the owner of Locked Off-Road, is really good at building not just shocks, but also these hydro bumps specifically, and I can't wait to be running those bumps. So we get a lot of clients that come in here and they ask us, what's the first thing I should do to my truck that I just bought? And armor's always a good place to start. Rock sliders are probably the best armor to start with too. It's kind of an insurance policy. It's like $1,000. It takes two and a half hours to install them here at the shop. So I'm not talking about Nerf bars. I'm not talking about running boards and steps. I'm talking about proper DOM tubing rock sliders. I really enjoy the C4 rock sliders right now, and I'm probably gonna switch these to C4. But these particular sliders are made by Cali Raised Off-Road. They're Fab Division, they're Apex sliders. They're the 25-degree sliders, so they kind of tuck up real tight against the body. I like the look, and actually, I was hit in this truck, and those rock sliders saved my rocker panels and probably saved the girl who hit me's insurance probably $10,000 in damage because those rock sliders took the brunt of the hit. We've had a customer come in who's been T-boned at like 45 miles an hour, and his rock sliders saved his child's life. As far as the bumpers go, I went with Backwoods Adventure Mods. It's a great business. They're out of Arkansas. They are really trying to be innovative in the space, and the best way they're innovating is by saving you weight. When you do a full build like this, your truck gets heavy and weight is an issue. This front bumper here is their hybrid high clearance bumper. The shell of it's made out of aluminum. The whole thing weighs like 85 pounds, so it saves you about 100 pounds on the front end, which I'm really happy with. I love the look of it. It's sleek. It's enough protection. It is aluminum, so if you really bang this thing, it's gonna get damaged faster than steel, obviously, but the trade-off is the weight. Rear bumper is also Backwoods. This is not the dual swing, but they did just release the dual swing bumper. This one is steel, but it's still built in a way that saves a lot of weight. I like the look of it. It's sleek, it's different. I like that they're trying to be innovative. Also, one thing that I really like as a business owner and a dealer who believes in one of these products is the ability to get them really fast. They're in stock, they're ready to go. We can install them within a week. Because these trucks get really heavy and Toyotas are notoriously underpowered, the most important mod, in my opinion, once you build out one of these rigs is a re-gear. Mountain Yotas here specializes in re-gears. We do them constantly. There's always a re-gear going on at the shop. I went with Yukon Gear and Axle 529s. Now what this does is it gives me a lot more low-end torque. There's a big argument of 488s versus 529s. 529s, in my opinion, is not overgeared with even 33s. The trade-off is you get a lot of low-end torque, which I like. It turns the truck into a zippy machine. It's really responsive and it feels great when you hit the gas. Going up the passes here in the Rocky Mountains, it's a totally different experience than driving even a stock truck. Fully weighted, loaded up like this, really heavy with 529 gears, I'm flying past everybody if I want to. The downside to the re-gear, which isn't really a downside in my opinion, you're running a little bit higher RPMs at speed. I'm like 500 RPMs higher at 70 miles an hour than I am versus a stock truck or 33s. It's about that. That's a trade-off I'm willing to take. It also increases your gas mileage because you come off the line really easily. So the lighting on this truck, it's all Baja designs, with the exception of my backup lights, which are Diode Dynamics. And the only reason I chose Diode Dynamics for the back is because they fit that bumper back there perfectly, and they're backlit red, which I really like. But yeah, Baja Designs is just the best it gets. We like Diode Dynamics also. I have a 30-inch amber S8 light bar behind my grill, which I think is the cool way to do Raptor lights. You can't see it right now, but when it's on, it glows like Raptor lights, but it's coming from behind my grill. It's really kind of the more gangster way to do backlights in your grill. The top light bar is an S8 40-inch amber. We have Squadron fog lights in my front bumper, as well as S2. They're actually white ditch lights, but I have amber covers. I have the amber rock guards on there right now as well. And then we have Baja Designs rock lights, 16 of them under the truck, but we also have 4 of them on that beautiful Sherpa rack that's on my roof. Sherpa is by far my favorite roof rack company. It's not even close. And they make these rock light brackets that just work perfectly as camp scene lights. They're phenomenal. And these Baja Designs rock lights are surprisingly bright. So the taillights on this truck are Alpha Rex Lux black taillights. They are sequential. I love the look. The quality is great. Haven't had an issue at all. The headlights on this truck are actually stock. It's one of the few stock things on this. The reason I kept those is because it is the TRD Pro. They're great LED headlights, they're sequential, and they actually say TRD Pro in them. If I was gonna trade them out, I'd get the Morimotos. I love Morimoto lights, including their tail lights, and that's the only thing I would consider swapping these Pro lights for. So I had mentioned that this Sherpa roof rack was by far my favorite. In my opinion, there's not a better roof rack for Toyotas on the market. I've run everything. I've even tested the Hook Road cheap roof racks on Amazon, Prinzu up top. Nothing is even close to Sherpa. They're thicker, they're designed smarter, they're easier to install, and you're not gonna get roof damage when you're actually using these things, and they look amazing. So I've done a lot of things on the bed of this truck, and this right now is my favorite setup that I've run. This is a Leitner Designs fully forged active cargo system. I love the modularity. You can put different things on the side panels. Right now, I have 2 storage compartments, a shower and a panel that can hold like roto packs and other accessories. This thing is the strongest bed rack I've ever seen. It's also full height, but it doesn't look obnoxious like a lot of full height bed racks. It gives you way more useful space, and the way that you mount a rooftop tent on this makes so much more sense. It cuts the time maybe by 70% off the top to install a rooftop tent. They also thought through a rooftop tent install on this because I can now run a longer tent and I have nothing to consider on the overhang going onto the front cab rack at all. I could throw whatever tent I want on this rack and I'm gonna be confident. I don't even know what the strength is on here, but I bet you could put 10 people in this tent if they could fit. As you can imagine, owning a shop with a couple friends, we have tried every type of rooftop tent you can possibly think of. This right here is the Rome Rambler. It's brand new. It pops straight up. It's a really unique tent in that it has corner windows, giving you a nice panoramic view. It sets up almost just as fast as any of the wedge style tents, like a Go Fast CVT mount hood, anything like that. It really is just convenient. It takes some getting used to packing it away, but the nice part about packing it away is that you can actually use this as storage, and I'm not just talking about your bedding. You can leave stuff up there and have plenty of room to just close the tent. I really like Rome products. I like their boxes. I like all of their tents. The Vagabond series tents for a soft shell if you want to save some money. But this Rambler is kind of a step up from any soft shell because it's hard, it looks different, and again, it's one of those things where they're trying to innovate, and I appreciate that. All right, another great thing that Leitner does is they really have solved how to mount a 270 awning. These brackets are the strongest brackets I've ever seen. They keep it away from the truck. They make it really easy to actually use your awning. Mounting 270 awnings can be a real nightmare. This solves the problem. On these great awning brackets is the Ironman 270 awning. What's cool about this is the price. It's $1,000. It can be freestanding. It has legs too. You can turn it into a room. It also has LED lights that go into the top of it. And for the money, it's a great awning. All right, one of the new things we brought on as a dealer is Garmin. Garmin has stepped up their off-road and overlanding game by providing a product called the Garmin PowerSwitch. And what this is essentially is a controller for all of your aftermarket electronics. The beautiful thing about this controller is that you don't have to run anything through your firewall. It's 100% wireless, so you just hook up your positive and negative under the hood, and then you don't go through the firewall. You go to either your phone to control your lighting, compressors, air lockers, what have you, or you can also use their Garmin Overlander, their Garmin Tread Overlander, which is a step up, or the Tread Overlander XL. I'm running the Garmin Overlander screen. The software in it, the maps aren't as good as like Google Maps or Waze, but what's great about their maps is it has camp spots, it has property lines, it has BLM land, so you know where you can and can't camp. It also works anywhere. Now the Tread series also has the ability to do satellite texting, and you can buy a subscription from them, which includes some insurance policies for recovery. I can't thank Garmin enough for creating these products. They are truly innovating the overlanding scene. Before you had Oxbeam, which is really cheap as a switch, and you're putting yourself at risk of fires. This unit in here, the PowerSwitch, is $500. It's worth every penny, and I would take this over any switch system on the market. So last but not least, it's the star of the show. My favorite thing about this truck is my wrap. A lot of people try to build trucks and they try to make them unique because, let's face it, unless you're a fabricator, somebody else has what's on your truck, and the one way you can stand out above anything else is to get a custom wrap. My friend Nick Hughes owns Pure Blind, and he is a really well-known artist, and he has phenomenal wrap installation team working for him. I cannot recommend getting a wrap done by Pure Blind enough. I'm kind of a metalhead. I like edgy things. I had a Lunar Rock truck before, so we built kind of a moon-themed off-road wrap, and I love it. It looks like a tattoo that I would get. In fact, I'm getting this spaceman skeleton tattooed on my leg by Nick, who designed this wrap. This is an APA matte vinyl that's printed on. APA vinyl is an Italian luxury vinyl. Not a lot of people print on it because it's high risk. You can misprint and then you wasted $2,400 in materials. We decided to go for it and go all out. This has a double laminate, so if I get trail marks on the side, you can kind of hit it with a heat gun. It goes away. The wrap makes it stand out more than anything else. It's the best way to put a personal touch on your truck. Nobody else has this wrap, obviously. And again, it's my favorite thing about the truck. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out my truck. You can find us on mountainyotas.com or on Instagram at MTNYotas with a T. And look forward to chatting with you. If you ever need any consultations or anything about building out your Toyota 4x4, hit us up. Come by the shop, I-70 in Wadsworth. Thanks again.